Jets camp. Rodgers and Garrett Wilson getting into it. It ends eventually with a nice handshake. Coach Mangini is here to discuss, but we're going to start with Brew.
Hold on, before we start, it means it's football season. You're sitting next to me. You're not in a box. The smell of football's in the air. Players are putting on pads at practice. I'm so excited.
And there's practice fights.
There's all of it. The Chiefs are doing quadruple passes, hopefully in Weird and Wonderful.
That is in Weird and Wonderful.
It's so much. Sorry,
Coming
Brew.
up in 10 minutes.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Brew, something or nothing here.
Look, you guys know I'm trying to get behind the Jets.
You're already behind him. You picked
right.
him to win the AFC.
Well, we haven't made our official picks.
Yeah.
But, I went off on Rodgers for skipping minicamp, but I've gone past that because I
Once
do
you
feel
found
like
out it
he's
wasn't about
focused
drugs,
and
you were
engaged, right? And I am leaning strongly, Coach, toward picking them in the AFCs. They're my pick right now. We'll see when it's official. But then every time I try to throw my weight behind them, something happens. And now we have this.
oh, wow.
It's something. Something wonderful! I love this!
Welcome back.
Coach Elaine, I bet you love it too. This is how you get better. You challenge one another. You challenge each other. This is the byproduct of them, Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, thinking, we got something special here. We can really get busy this year. You see, was it DJ Reed talking about how good they've looked in practice? They've been burning DJ Reed all week long. That's what that said.
That's good.
I read between the lines, okay? And I think this is going to make Garrett Wilson the best he can be. And I think at this stage of his career, Aaron Rodgers will be the best he can be because of stuff like this. It's something great.
I did not expect you to come with all that Jets energy.
Yeah.
It's been percolating.
Wow, I'm blown away
Thank you,
that you have
Coach.
that much Jets energy. I don't think this is anything at all. And when you look at it, Aaron's always had the reputation of being difficult with his wide receivers and expecting a lot from his wide receivers. And that was one of the concerns when he went to the Jets. Was he going to have his guys? Would they understand the hand signals that he had, the adjustments that he made? All those types of things. And look, I don't know who is right and who is wrong with this. I'm guessing Aaron is right. And I'm guessing even if he was wrong, he would think he was right.
Well, yeah.
And they go through this discussion, and it's good. It's good to have these discussions now and not have them when you're playing. And it's good to develop a rapport with your best player so that when things come up during the course of the game, you know how to communicate with each other in a way that's not going to lead to something more or some kind of distraction. It's like, okay, this is how we get things worked out. And so I think it's positive from that perspective. I don't think that you can look at it and say, wow, they are all in. They're just digging in on the sidelines, and they can't wait to get every single thing right. More of just the normal business and how things are.
Yeah, listen, I'm not bothered by this at all, and I do think the end of it, of them dapping each other up, was noteworthy and important. I think that's, I think that having a little brief spat with someone at work, but then making sure that you guys, when you leave the room, are on good terms, is important and good. I am actually, as my part-time job is media ombudsman, more interested in the amount of Jet fans who also in their spare time cover the team, who told me for weeks how unimportant and meaningless practice was, talks about how good this was. Because if mini camps doesn't matter at all, if none of that stuff matters, then this doesn't matter. Then none of it, because this is the whole point of having those mandatory have everyone together moments, is so you can have these positive, because I do think this is positive. I think having two people that really want to work, that want to be good, and making sure, wait, it wasn't one of those, I screwed that up. We both think we're right, so let's make sure we figure out who actually was right or who we're going to say was right so it doesn't happen down the road. I think that's important. But I also think that's why a couple days of mandatory minicamp are not nothing, because that's what fosters these types of things. But no, I'm not going to kill anybody for this.
Yeah, we don't really know if this is important. Has anybody asked Aaron if it's important? Because that's the only person that matters. So if Aaron thinks this was important, then it's important. If Saleh thinks it's important, well, it's not necessarily important.
Okay. Bleacher Report put out a list of 5 under-the-radar MVP candidates. For some players, it's an honor. For others, kind of a diss. 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers at 1. He's the number 1 under-the-radar MVP candidate.
It's a weird way to look.
Anthony Richardson, who completed 50 passes.
He's super under the radar.
He's very under the radar. He has 80 attempts. He's at 2. Then Kirk Cousins at 3, who's fighting for his job since he has his replacement already on the staff, on the team. And then McCaffrey. And then Caleb at 5. Nick, are you buying Rodgers can win MVP?
No, I think it's an absurd list. Like if
It's under the radar.
No, so what I did was I got that.
Right.
So I went to everyone who had Aaron Rodgers odds or worse to win MVP.
Real odds.
Because that's kind of was the premise of the articles, like long shots who could win it, and guys who were worse odds than Aaron, but not on this list, and certainly not higher than 1 on this list. Matt Stafford, Christian McCaffrey, who we just saw, Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson. Like, those are guys, and if we want to bring in other quarterbacks, I understand the Anthony Richardson argument is that the Colts won 9 games last year, and in the very tiny sample we saw from him, he looked like he could be dynamic, so who knows? But it is a massive who knows. No one has explained to me yet why, when the last time we saw Aaron play, with, in my opinion, relatively comparable total collection of skill players he put up this season, and we can show it to you what it was as far as across the league, and now he has demonstrably worse coaching, and he's 2 years older, why all of a sudden he's going to be the best quarterback in the league.
Should I explain to him, Brew, or do you want to explain?
Go
buy
ahead,
it?
Coach.
So look, last year, if you guys remember, he was my candidate for MVP.
Yeah.
And I was buying into the fact that with a motivated Aaron Rodgers, with an angry Aaron Rodgers, that's when he's most effective. And he's 1 year removed from back-to-back MVP seasons. And I thought that coming into this situation with the mindset that he had a real opportunity to get back to that. And I'm a little bit off of that just because we're an injury. Now we've had to work through an injury. But when you look at his final season in Green Bay versus Tom Brady's final season in New England, when they got rid of Tom Brady. Now remember, this is what ended the New England dynasty, is when they moved on from him. They're very comparable seasons. And what happened the next time Tom played? He had 40-plus touchdowns each of the next 2 years. He had over 100 quarterback rating. So to say that a great player, that once they're done, that's not necessarily true. And we've seen it. Right. And I'm not saying they're the same guy because they have a little bit different approach in terms of the offseason. But it has
could not have more different approaches in terms of
but it has been done by great players in the past, and I would put Aaron Rodgers in the great player category.
Yeah, I'm more with Coach. Like, the key is under the radar. Like, I don't expect Aaron Rodgers to be the MVP, but dark horse candidate, sure.
In the Jameis Winston moment?
No, but because here's what he's got going for him, the storyline. Like, if he does have a really good season, he's come back, from coming off injury, 40 years old. He's a legend now with a team that's been, a bad franchise for the most part in New York, right? And so he'd have all that working for him. And if they win, and it's an if, but if they win 12 or 13 games, you don't think, like, even if he doesn't play at the level he did when he won the last
13 games, 100%.
Yeah.
13.
No, but I mean, it's a under the radar. I think he's definitely an under the radar candidate.
We talk so much when a great quarterback or a quarterback we think might be great or a quarterback who looked great and then didn't, we're like, what happened? We point to the coordinator. We point to coaching if they're not hurt.
Not
we're like,
all of us.
Okay, but very often. And we have to be honest about if we think coaching matters, then someone show me the instance of a quarterback with a defensive-minded head coach and an offensive coordinator who they tried to shadow depose, but they couldn't effectively do it, how that's going to lead to a wildly productive season. Like, that part of it, everyone is just glossing over. That as far as offensive coaching infrastructure, the Jets arguably have the worst in the league.
Yeah, but Rodgers likes him. Does it matter outside of that? Rodgers like, this is my guy. I trust him. You guys should trust him.
Yeah, well, when you're working in 3 new offensive linemen, 2 new receivers, a rookie offensive lineman who might end up playing if Tyron Smith gets hurt, all of that, yeah, I think it matters. And I especially think it matters